Nick at Night on News Talk Radio 580 CFRA.
Okay, welcome back. Let's get back to the phones and talk to Tom. Tom, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good. How are you, Nick?
Oh, Mr. Harris.
Yeah,
nice to hear from you again.
I heard somebody mention the oil sands just before the break. Just driving in my driveway.
The Quaker, what do they call it? Quaker State Country? That was it.
Well, there's some exceptionally good news. As you know, the main opposition to the oil sands and the Keystone XL pipeline and Gateway is the climate issue. And in fact, that's where almost all the money's coming from, whether you're talking about natives or others. The original funding is coming mainly from American philanthropists who are trying to stop climate change. And so, of
Ted
course,
Turners and Robert Redfords and people like that.
Right, that's right. And so far, the government's been pretty inept at defeating these people. They say, well, it doesn't give out as much as American coal stations, you know. And that's a pretty pathetic argument because it's a little like saying to your wife when she complains that you drink too much, well, I don't get drunk as often as the neighbor. You know, it's just a stupid argument. And fortunately, a great gift is about to be presented to people in favor of the oil sands. On Tuesday, a group called the Non-Governmental International Panel on Climate Change, they're going to be presenting a report called Climate Change Reconsidered. And this is essentially the anti-UN IPCC report. Okay, it's coming out 10 days before the big Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report that's coming out from the UN. And it essentially takes the anti-UN position. It basically concludes that we may be experiencing global cooling in the near future due to changes in the brightness of the sun. Right. Here's another conclusion, just blow you away. The global area of sea ice today is close to that first measured by satellites in 1979. Okay?
I didn't hear there was a huge increase in surface ice up in the Arctic this summer.
Well, yeah, in comparison with last year, there was a very big rise, actually, in the amount of ice. You know, BBC and others said that by 2013 there'd be no ice in the summer in the Arctic. But now this is really beautiful because this is coming out, as I say, it's a 1,200-page document. It's going to be released on Tuesday in Chicago. I'm with the International Climate Science Coalition, of course, and I'll be sending you a news release on it on Tuesday we're allowed to.
Didn't they already release a report, the group you're referring to?
Yes, they did, back in 2009,
I think I've got a copy of it sitting here on the table beside me.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, the new one is a completely new document. It's coming out, as I say, on Tuesday, and it's got all the latest science right up to date, okay? And unlike the UN, it's not ignoring any of the reports. It's bringing in everything. And basically what they're saying is that the science is so immature that we don't know the future of climate. We don't even know if it's going to warm or cool, let alone whether it's going to be a problem. So, you know, what the government of Canada has to do now is to stop their cheerleading for the UN's climate reports. Because, you know, in previous years, John Baird, who was Environment Minister, within minutes of when the UN put out their last climate assessment report, he was up there cheerleading, saying, oh, yeah, this is an incredible problem. All the scientists agree, which, of course, is nonsense. The beauty of this is it's coming out 10 days before the UN's report for the first time. And so the government will be completely irresponsible if they start doing the kinds of things they did on previous UN reports. They can, of course, reference the UN report, but there's a big report that's far more valid, actually. It's not being put out by government, and that's the big thing. The UN reports are put out, in fact, it's called the Intergovernmental Report. It's put out by governments who've already decided that there's a problem. And so, of course, the UN isn't going to refute that. Whereas this report is an independent report. It's put out by scientists who don't work for government. And so what we really should see is the Canadian government start to take a more neutral stance. Instead of pretending they know what the future of climate is, they basically should be holding open hearings in which they bring in scientists from both sides and use both reports, the NIPCC and the IPCC reports, to show that we really don't know what's going on. The climate models clearly don't work. As you know, we're in a period of no global warming, even though CO2 levels have risen 8% actually in the last 16 years. So this is a great gift if the government's going to use it and start their really ridiculous approach, which they've been doing to this point, of, you know, I'm not as drunk as the neighbor.
Yeah, well, that's, as you point out, that's a really silly argument. And it's nice to know that there's going to be let's call it a companion to the one from 2009.
Oh, yeah.
Because that one is a great resource. So it's a kind of between the two of them, you've got everything you need to refute anybody who still foolishly believes in man-made global warming.
Yeah, and you can look up any topic. Sea level rise is not accelerating. You know, global sea ice, et cetera. Just look it up. It's right there. The data's there. Thousands of research papers backing it up, too.
Yeah, it's not just one guy in a garage somewhere thinking, no, it couldn't possibly be real. This is real science by real scientists.
Exactly.
All right, Tom, got to stop you there. Appreciate the call.
Thank you.